Now, of course, latitude and longitude don't mean a whole lot to most of us unless we can kind of see it in a location. So let's take a look next at how to display this location on a map. I'll go back over to my document here, and you'll notice I have a div included here that's got an ID of map. And it's empty right now, so we aren't seeing it in the browser yet. What we'll do next is modify our function to go and access Google Maps, since we can use that for free on any site that's available free for consumer use. There's a number of ways you can do this with Google Maps. A real easy one is submit the coordinates with a comma separated between them as part of a URL for an image, and Google Maps will send you back an image of the map with your location displayed on it. We'll have to set up the URL for the image file, but the first thing I want to do is set up a string variable, and we'll include in it our position variables, latitude and longitude, separated by a comma. So let me add a line for our new functions down in our show position function here, and I'll create that variable. I'll use my var keyword, and let's call it lat_long, since it's going to be a combination of both values. I'll set that equal to the position coords latitude, and then let's add into it a string that will have a value to separate the two. That's going to be our comma. And then we'll add on the other variable as well, which is position coords longitude. Next, let's set up the URL for our map. I'll use a variable for that as well. We'll use the var keyword, and I'll just call this one map URL. To start it off, we need to address the Google Map API location. And here's the address. It's http://maps.googleapis.com/maps/API/static map. After that, we've got a question mark and some data that starts with center equals. Now I'm going to close our quotes right now, and what we need to add in at this location is our latitude and longitude values. Well, we just stored that in a variable, so I'm going to add that variable right into this string, plus lat_long, and then we're going to add some other value elements for the Google Map. So I'll start off another set of quotes, and this time we'll add in some data that's going to add a marker location for us. That's &markers equals, we can give our marker a color, so I'm going to set that equal to blue, and we can also give it a label. But I need to separate these values here with %7 capital C as part of the URL. Then I can add on another value, for instance, a label for the marker. I'll just label this number 1. And again, we need %7 capital C for a delimiter. And then I add in the values for the latitude and longitude of the marker, which is the same thing as our map position. So I'll close off my quotes, and I'll add in our lat_long variable again. Now we just need one more set of values to finish off our URL. So I'll start off another set of quotes. And here we're going to specify a value for the zoom in on the map. I'll use 14 for that, but you can play with it with your own maps. I'll need &zoom equals 14. I'll also set a map size. So we need &size equals. And let me just give it a value of 400 by 300 pixels. Notice the X in the middle of the two. The last value we need to include is for sensor, and we just set that equal to false. Now I'll close up my quote and close my JavaScript statement, and let's go back and take a look at this URL. We start off going to a specific address in the Google Maps API. We add in our latitude and longitude values, which is our variable of our two values separated by a comma. We add in a marker with a label. And again, those go to the same latitude and longitude values. And then we set up the window size for our map. Now, the last thing I want to do is actually include this image on the page. And since we're getting this image from JavaScript, we might as well include it with JavaScript. So let me add one more line down here below. And let's go and retrieve the div that we want to put this into. That'll be document.getElementById. And we're looking for the map element. We'll call off its inner HTML property with .syntax. And we'll set it equal to some HTML. I'll start it off with some quotes, because what we need to do is add an image tag. So we'll start off with img for our image tag. And of course, images need a source attribute, src. We'll set that equal to, and then we want to add in our map URL variable. Now I'll need a set of quotes around our source, so before I close this off, I'm going to add in a single quote, and that will be part of our HTML document. Then I'll use a set of double quotes after that to close this first set of quotes. We'll add a plus sign, and we can add in our variable that contains our map URL. And then we just need to close off our image tag. So I'll add a plus sign and another set of quotes. Now remember, we'll need to close the single set of quotes that's inside of our image source statement, so I'll put a single quote there. Then I'll use a slash and end the tag. We'll close our string quotes and close our JavaScript statement. So our getElementById is going to find the map div, locate the inner HTML so we can add things to it, and then it's going to add a standard image tag with the source attribute set to our map URL. Let's save our changes, and let's see how it worked. I'll go back out to our browser. I'll refresh the page so that we're using the new code, and I'll go ahead and click for my location. Once again, I'm asked whether I want to share it or not, and I'll click Share. And this time, you can see that not only do our latitude and longitude values show up, we also see our map and our location right on the map. If you're following along with me, you should see your location here as well.